So we're going to play this now. This is starting all the way back in late December of 2020. This is a bars replay, so we get to watch the chart play itself out. And this is on the 2-hour chart. So here we have a constant like suffocating effect, right? Where we're constantly being rejected from the accumulation bands. Rejected again right here. It started to get some action. Rejected there, rejected there. We're now approaching mid-January of 21. This is an important feature right here. So seeing the accumulation bands start to lift, right? There's actually a feature on here called show linear regression trend that makes a separate depiction of what accumulation is doing. But not even using that, when you see the accumulation bands start to lift, that means that you're having higher and higher floors. So after going down at like a 45-degree angle, it started to balance and started to point up, and that's huge. And of course, that's where you started seeing supports being formed within that, like right here, 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 here. And now we're approaching the initial channel where the squeeze actually happened, right? We see the UTAD band starting to approach. Now, given we've already been so low for so long and the accumulation is starting to recover, seeing this come down doesn't necessarily mean a rejection with the context of things that are starting to come higher. Yeah, look at those rejections. So now we're essentially reaccumulating because we're up 50 to 60% at this point. Perfect rejection off of here, but still held the range. Caught support right down here. I hope everyone can see that. This is why this fucking indicator is so important. Same see on the 2-hour chart, sitting at January 21st of 21. Caught support here. All right, now here we have, right, so that was a big move there. A 2.5 cluster breakout, we could call it, because you have the 2 accumulation bands, and then 1 distribution band also taking place. Going up from, just a few sessions prior, it was 218. Now it has hit a high of 375, so that's like a 75% gain. We had caught support here. A rejection that was very close to here, and same with this. Nonetheless, still a very good-looking chart. Also had caught support right here. So this further implies more move. And there you have the move of January. Now the sniper hasn't even caught up to that because this is uncharted territory, no pun intended. But that is a triple cluster breakout right there with distribution alone. Now where we're at currently in time, there's actually accumulation clusters that we're sitting on. I'll get to that in a bit. After that run, we were still within the range of the distribution regions. So people who were trying to jump out still had more room to get action on this play. Just from here, because we had a support catch here, a little bit of a resistance there, but nonetheless close at a support. Again, another bounce right here. You get another big move, and then that's kind of where things start to decline. It even captured the gap down. Right? And it also caught a support right here. This thing is incredible. I will never not have pride about this. 2 rejections again. Just to zoom out, now we're going into early February. Look where our UTAD regions are sitting. We bounced perfectly off of it. So again, to add more context, if this were any other stock at any other point in time, okay, so we're separating from the ape rhetoric here. We're talking in general terms. If this were any other stock, most people would have sold out by now. In retrospect, having this tool, you can see that we have caught support at a very important part of the chart, right? Because again, the red lines are representing the highest highs. It's a unique way of calculating it. So we've caught support here It's sitting at, call it 550, right? Rejection here, support again. We're having another little squeeze episode happen between these two channels. Again, another very important part. We got pulled down under that macro UTAD region, and the moment that it escaped, it jumped from 550 to 626. That's a 20% gain. Here it is happening again. Same thing. It caught support within this channel, bounced off of here. Again, that's another confirmation that you have more move coming. So let's look at this again. We had a double cluster breakout. So we had caught support within that channel, right? And then the move that followed was from 587 up to 786. That's about a 55% gain. Caught support right here, gapped back up, and there you have again that move in late February. Support, 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 and then we broke out of a macro UTAD. Caught support right here. Like this thing is just fucking crazy. Look at the fucking rejection there. Again, to the penny. And where on the chart, if we draw that as a line, where on the chart do you see a historical key level there? There isn't at 862, but this caught it. There is nowhere on the chart that you could be like, oh, we had a support at, or I don't know, call it a resistance at 977, right? And we're pulling that from here. There's nowhere on the chart that you can do that with the rejection that we had just seen. Right here. There was no previous support or resistance right there. And then again, you start to see the ranges of the candle bodies diminish, and volume starts kicking in on the selling. All right, so I'm going to stop jerking myself off here. I'm going to speed it up a little bit to illustrate my original point of how this was one of like the most perfect setups. Again, we had a little triple cluster happen, and it went from 770 all the way up to 1450. So all in the meanwhile, as all this is happening, we're now approaching early April. We had back-to-back triple cluster breakouts, and then we fell through. And triple cluster breakouts also happen in reverse. So if you have triple clusters going up, you will have them going down. So if you have a triple cluster right below you and you fall below that, you're probably going to keep falling. Another fucking pitch perfect rejection. I'm going to set this to log just so that we can see the chart better. Now here we have like the chart pattern of all chart patterns in terms of everything that we've learned and theorized around here. This is where the cycle started, the idea of it anyways, the way that everything seems to be repeating. That's where this indicator started from almost, 2 years ago now? Year and a half ago? Here we have a macro support kicking in, and it was respected. We also have a spring right here. Another triple cluster breakout forming. Okay, pause. This is May 10th, all right? Look at how this line right here, this thing, the blue one, look how it has caught up to where the new trend progressed. And that has become a significant support. Because again, if you put yourself in the context of this chart, without thinking of like the whole Wall Street bets thing, yada, 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 most people would be like, okay, this thing went from $2.50 all the way up to 20 and a half, got rejected at 14.5, not once, but twice. Okay? Most people, without the context of everything that was going on at that phase, and the cat licking her own asshole, most people would be like, it's time to sell or start to short. Whereas if you had this, it would have been the opposite. It's like, it has caught support not once but 3 times on an accumulation line. And if you have taken the time to dive into Wyckoff schematics and Wyckofian perspectives, you would realize that this is one giant reaccumulation. Now here we have the most pivotal moment. And around this time frame, for me, like I was like the fractal thing was what was keeping my conviction in this, because I realized that this was starting to look like a repeat of what had happened prior. Head and shoulders. Yeah, right. Yeah, it's a great point. Everyone is thinking to themselves, head and shoulders, head and shoulders. I'll never forget that feeling of that day in June. Yeah, man. Yeah. Is Rico still on hold? Yeah, I'm almost done. Okay, so now this is late May. This is May 24th, the day after Memorial Day weekend. Most people would look at this chart and be like, it's time to get out. We had a triple cluster breakout that was seemingly kind of a whiff, right? The breakout started at 11.55 and it went to 14.27, so like 15% gain. Keep Rico on hold. He's a shill cunt. Yes, he is. So, yeah, it's like, this doesn't look too great. But in retrospect, you have a support being caught at a macro distribution, and you also have a macro accumulation on top of all of your distributions. So a little double cluster breakout and then catching support at the uppermost cluster or band. Everyone was used to 1450. Like it was a literal meme. Like everyone just kept expecting it to get rejected again and again and again and again until it didn't. Okay, so that leads us to here. And we had one of the best fucking short squeezes to ever happen. There should have been more to it. You can see that we had another triple cluster forming. It was set to go again. And if anyone has been around since this time frame, which is circa early June, right? I had called for a run to 60. And if it didn't, then I would donate $1,000 to one of Matt Core's charities of choice, which he never, unfortunately, did get back to me on, but I did donate to various things around me locally. That being said, my rationale was the cycle thing, the fractal thing, yada, 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 yada. This is what I was seeing in my own way without the indicator. I had to write this to show people what I was thinking, and this is exactly it. This is one of the mathematical approaches. So you can see we had this triple cluster ready, right? We had another support kick in, and this was supposed to be the run to 60. I think we got stopped out at like 54. Was that it right here? I think that was it. It was this. Yeah. Yep, that was it. And that was supposed to be a triple cluster breakout. Again, I didn't have this tool. I hadn't made this yet back then. But in my head and the way that I was analyzing things, it was like, okay, we're starting to see the same behavior take place relative to previous instances. So here we have a triple cluster working in reverse, unfortunately. I still believe we should have ran. I think this all has to do with and look into True Demon on this, but it seems to have something to do with abuse of short exempt volume. But we had rejections all throughout here. The triple cluster breakout was muffled. We also, like, this is what I'm talking about. Look at the way it was catching here. This is not manual. These are not drawings that I have made. This is a script that I programmed. This is going to be part of retail getting their sucker punch in. This is like one of the best things that I've ever seen, let alone made. And then look again. Look at the fucking look at the fucking goddamn supports. Where on this fucking chart? Like where on this chart do you see supports for here or supports here? Nowhere in the fucking history of this chart do you have historical supports. Look how clean this is. Fuck my face. And fuck the chat. Look at this. Look how clean that is. Look how clean that is. Look at this. The triple cluster. Fuck. Nowhere else. Anyhow. Oh, and look at that fucking pitch perfect rejection too. So anywho, let's speed up to where we are now. We had a triple cluster breakout in reverse. Right here. And funnily enough, this is where AMC officially entered into its own reaccumulation after a handful of redistributions. Rico be like, my minutes, bro. Call me after 9. Oh, one last point. The breakout we had in March was a triple cluster of accumulation We went from 1350 all the way up to 35. Thanks for the 2021 history lesson. Yes, sir. That was just a triple cluster breakout from the accumulation side. And now here we are again, about to have the same thing happen. So now look where we're at. Look where we're at. Ladies and gentlemen, look where we're at.